There we go. Good evening. Oh my goodness. I don't know why it does that every time. I have to figure out why that does that. But you should be able to hear me now. Hopefully. It looks like anyways on my end that you can hear me now. So I'm going to wait until I see a response. Okay, good. Fantastic. Good evening. It's good to see you all tonight. Sorry about that. Hopefully everyone is doing well. Have I considered that it may be a skill issue? Possibly, potentially, and maybe even probably. So there. Tonight we are going to be focusing on a couple of different things here, a couple of projects here. One of which, Garett, I'm sure you are extremely happy to see on the workbench, which is, of course, Finger Lakes 203. And the camera has stopped working now as well, which is fantastic. So it truly is a skill issue. There we go. Can I increase the volume at all? I can do this, which I meant to do. Now you should be able to hear me significantly better, Giuseppe. I forgot to bring Mikey over here. So yeah, we will be working on getting the weathering started for Finger Lakes 203 here. Get a base layer of fade and maybe a little bit of grime on it. I've got to be pretty careful because a lot of fine details, a lot of which Garett did himself. And of course we've got the grills for the windows as well that I can start to weather out. And then once we have a base layer of fade down on 203, we are going to jump to B&CCS 765, add some more details. I'm going to be I'm going to try and bash together a horn out of Atlas 5 chime. Try to reconfigure how the bells are facing and the order that they're in order to try and get something more accurate to what I was hoping for the model. I will be adding definitely the ACI labels. I'll probably open it up, put the rear light housing in, probably put some cab details on as well. I've got some Sinclair antennas that need to be painted and added, so we'll get all of that done. But before we get to any of that, those of you who happened to see my shorts from last night, or maybe it was this morning, I don't remember, should have seen something very exciting, which if you give me a second to actually give me a second to pull up, I will share that short. Do this, and then do that. And that short shows that Amtrak 4316 is officially done. I should have put the quotes on the post, but it is done with air quotes because there's still more work to do. I've got to do a little bit of tweaking of the programming to get it to run right and sound right exactly how I want it. It's pretty close, but there's still some work to do there. I need to get the coupler back installed on the front of the locomotive. I need to do the weathering, all of that, but we will check out the short here. As you'll hear here, not only is it fully detailed now with the windshield wipers on the cab and the nose hoses, it also has an ESU Loc Sound V5 decoder in it. away it rolls. Not only did I add the dual beam headlight to the front, as you just saw, but I also, as we come to a stop here, added the reverse light. And that came out extremely nicely. That was a scratch-built part. The dual steam generators on the roof were scratch-built parts. A number of scratch-built. Yeah, the lift lugs on the nose, those are scratch-built. A lot of very nice scratch-built parts on this project, and came out very, very well. And I'm super happy to have it, again, done. Let's see, who else do we have here? I've seen a number of other folks jump in here. Willow Creek Brad, good to see you, Brad. Giuseppe just finished derusting HO pantographs and then bluing and oiling them. Very nice. Bono's here. Good to see you, Bono. And Ted, good to see you, Ted. Welcome in, welcome in. But yeah, so 4316 is by far the project I've taken the furthest in terms of levels of completion, muzzle detailing, so on and so forth. And I am extremely happy with how it's come out. I do need to resecure this, it looks like, but that's simple enough to do. That's just a matter of a little bit of canopy glue. But yeah, so anyways, 4316 update out of the way. Let's go ahead and get started on weathering this caboose. Let me also just real quick, before I get started on that, let me figure out where I put that little part. Make sure I have everything pulled together here that I will need. That way I'm not going scrambling around looking for something later. Where's it? Okay. Go. Did I knock it to the ground? Quite possibly. Well, the good news is if I cannot find this, I do have a spare. But I want to freaking find it, man. Alright, I need to not let myself get derailed this easily. Pun intended. Okay. Weathering. The way some people treat their trains, it's in a sorry state. Yeah, some people don't know any better. Some people just don't care. And then it's left to us to rehabilitate them. Okay. 203, front and center. This brush and this brush here. That will do as well. Pardon me. Let's get a little bit more of these. Well, how's the consistency of these paints? Oh, they're still pretty good. They're still fine. Good. Excellent. All right, so step one here. I got to almost centers. Really funny. All right. I think I'm gonna take the trucks off. Trying to determine what the best way to get started on this is, and to get in around the end cage and everything like that. Because Garett's done some nice detailing on the end cage here, and I don't want to break it. Alright, well, it looks like I may just be working in and around. Carefully indeed. Good luck, they're hardwired in. Yeah, I'm gonna be working around them. So, we're gonna put it down and begin. So, for those of you who haven't seen me do this technique before, seeing that Ben made your heart skip a beat. Alright, so for those of you who haven't seen me do this technique before, I learned this technique from Mr. Ted Diorio out there in the chat, who I'm sure learned it from someone, who learned it from someone, who learned it from someone. The basics of it are just color theory. But because this is a green car, actually, before I get too deep into this, let me pull up my reference images again. Didn't make your job easy. The underbody can come off, just need to remove the coupler boxes. We'll see if I need to get to that. I'm gonna start working, and then we'll see how far we go. I want to pull up your reference images before I do anything else. That way I can make sure. I'm not over weathering. Yeah, it's you learned it from Dave. Open to Ciano. Yep. It's a good technique. It gets passed around. But I always like to shout you out, Ted, because you're the one I picked it up from. Okay, so we're going very minor on fading. That's good to know. Okay. So very, very light on the fading. So we're going to put some dots of white. And then we're going to put some dots of red, because red is the complement of green. And we're going to put a little bit of yellow, because there's a little bit of blue in this green as well. Of course, Ted. And now we blend. Oh, let me move Mikey a little bit here. That way I can get a little closer in here. Yes, oil paints. Let me actually get a little bit of the thinner out because I need to get just a little bit better flow on the model here. That'll do. Yep, I use the Winsor and Newton oil paints. That's what I, picked up from my local craft store. But really, to do this technique, you need your primary colors, your red, your blue, your yellow. If you want, you can get your secondary colors, but you don't strictly need them. And then a black and a white. And you don't even really need the black, but it helps if you need to darken a color. About to start driving, but you will lurk until you get home. Sounds good, Peter. Welcome in. Hope you drive safe. Do I dip the mostly dry it off before blending? Right now I am. Usually, I'll go for a little bit of heavier of this is going to be a very, very light fade. Usually I'll just add a little bit extra oil paint to the model, and then the inherent oil in the paint lets it blend well. Right now I am adding just a little bit of, I'm using odorless paint thinner, but it's all based, it's all roughly the same, turpentine, and it helps to get the blend going. Just this weekend, I was working on another car of a very similar color, actually. Give me a second to finish working on this side, and then I'll grab that car. There we go. So before Nice bright green. After a slightly more dull green. Just that ever so slight bit of fade to give it a little bit of age. The other car I was working on this weekend is this car right here. Lovely Penn Central PCA 50-foot boxcar for my good friend Corey. As you can see, I got about maybe a quarter of the way along the roof with a little bit of rust as well. And I burnished the whole roof with a thin wash of brown oil. But this came out very nicely. It's exact same technique for fading. So there's your underbody. I haven't done the underbody yet. So that's the original color. And that's the faded color. As you can see, it's pretty successful technique. Okay, let's move around to the other side. I'm going to tackle the ends as their own thing. A little bit more on here. A few dots of white pulled down from the white logos would look good. It would. I'm trying to see, because I am trying to keep as relatively faithful to the reference images as I can. There are definitely some places where I will do some white streaking. I can see some lettering that's got some white streaking applied, but I think these graphics are actually vinyl appliques on the unit as opposed to paint, so they don't really pull the way a painted on logo would. And Garett, maybe you can confirm or deny that, but that's the way it looks anyway, based on your reference photos. But things like these F's, those are all painted on with stencils. Those I will definitely be adding, doing some white streaking from. And there will be plenty of streaking around the corners of the windows. Garett, the question, it's not really so much a question as it is, I suppose, a confirmation. I don't know. Basically, the logo and the lettering, at least certainly the logo, is some sort of vinyl applique or something, not painted on, correct? Complaining about your summer classes, about your professor, and RIT. All right, yeah, that's a valid reason to not be paying attention. Yeah, I'll give you that one. That one's fair. But Giuseppe was saying I should do some white streaking down from the edges of the logo, and I was saying I was looking at the reference photos and it looks more like that's some sort of vinyl application or something, not necessarily painted on, as opposed to the Fs, which are definitely stencil painted on, and definitely are going to get some white streaks. Oh, hold. He's going to consult his sources. Okay, and then some red. And then some yellow. Just a tiniest little bit of yellow. And then we blend. Keep working away. A couple different brushes here to really try and blend it together nicely. It looks to be a vinyl decal. Yeah, that's kind of what I was suspecting, looking at the reference images and kind of just texture-wise and color-wise and finish-wise. That was going to be my guess. So glad to know that I know a thing or two. Also, the lettering on the cupola may be painted on. That was what I was thinking, looking at it. About it might be, but just it's so. You would lean into it being, lean on it being a decal though. Just based on the crispness of all the edges of the letters and everything, even after, presuming, 5-10 years of service, everything's still nice and crisp and clean and sharp, and there's no real paint bleed. That kind of leads me to think that it's a vinyl decal. Billy and or Danny, whichever rail brother is on tonight. I always default to it being Billy, but it's more often than, or it's just as often than not Danny. So whoever you are tonight, it's good to see you. Welcome in. We are making Garett's Caboose dirty, which sounds dirty, but no comment there. And Giuseppe did not see the reference photo. It's because I didn't show it. There's one. There's another. And there's a third. So I'm kind of flipping back and forth between these for the references. It's Billy tonight. Good to see you, Billy. So these are my references for 203. Most of the letting holds up well, so I'm guessing that's most of how their numbers are done. Gotcha. That would make sense. I think that's the way most modern railroads do their lettering. I think it's pretty rare for lettering to be paint anymore. At least the smaller roads, because it would need a lot more maintenance if it were all paint. You know, you'd need to repaint it more often than if it's a vinyl decal. You can order 10 of them. You know, 10 sets of the lettering, and then, you know, if you really need to redo the lettering, you just peel the one set off and put the next set on. So that's my hunch. Sorry, they aren't the best. There aren't a lot of photos of it. No worries. They give me the idea. And they give me lots of ideas, actually. They give me the sense of about how dirty it needs to be, about how faded it needs to be. It gives me some ideas for things like the streaking of the Fs, because the Fs are some of the only lettering on the car that I can see that are definitely painted. The Fs being painted gives me, you know, that little bit of license to do that on. I mean, I can very clearly see the one on the brake wheel housing is streaking in the one reference photo you sent me. But I'm going to probably apply that to some of the other Fs as well to give a little bit of character. And use that modeler's license. Just a little bit. Cheap bastards. Yep, you gotta have your front on your caboose. You know, if you know, you won't know which direction is which otherwise. How do you know which way to put towards the back of the train if you don't know which way is the front? Now the real question is, is the front of the caboose the direction that faces back, or is the front of the caboose the direction that faces the train? There's your important question. Burning questions. There's 6 of them. 6 of the Fs, I presume? No, not the Fs. 1, 2, 3, 4 Fs. 6 Cabooses? I'm not sure what there are 6 of, but there are 6 of them. In case anyone was curious. The other way to interpret that is that there are 6 fronts. The caboose has 6 fronts. 6 Fs. There are 6 Fs? I only see 4. Did you model all 6 Fs? Because I only see 4 Fs. They get real small. Ah, I found them. For anyone who is curious about the 5th and 6th F, if you can see that tiny little speck of white right at the tip of my paintbrush, that's an F right there. And there's one over here as well. Those do get real tiny. You were not lying. Don't hide him with the weathering. Oh, I won't. It's getting extremely light weathering in terms of fading and things like that. So I should have no problem making sure the Fs do not get hidden. And here, for F's sake. And here you thinking I was joking about the front of a Caboose. Yeah, no, there's no joke on this one. This is a very directional Caboose. All right, let's do a bit of white on the roof. And of course, I don't, I'm sure there really aren't any good overhead angles of 203. So I'm going to take some modeler's license on the roof a little bit. We're going to fade it pretty nicely. Maybe not that nicely. Dinner. Would never get about the F's on you. Yeah, come on. You got to give an F. Or 6. It was a radio control unit. How's the electronics for the belt pack? So it was always be hooked up to the locomotive. Or at least one of the locomotives. Fascinating prototypes, these radio Caboose. Super interesting. I feel very lucky that you're letting me play a role in their modeling. Hey, Ray. Good evening, my friend. Good to see you. Hope you've been well. I've slowly been catching up on your podcast. I realized I had fallen quite a bit behind without meaning to. So I think I'm caught up back through April now. So I just got to get through May. My hope is, my goal is to catch up over the course of this week. That way I can listen to the episode that dropped last Thursday with Chris as I drive to Chris's house for an op session. And then I can, now that I've got a nice hour-plus long commute, it's very easy to listen to a couple episodes a day, get caught up, and keep myself caught up with the show. Very appropriate indeed, Billy. That's the hope and the goal. I'm very excited to get back to Chris's. It's always a fantastic time. For those of you who don't know who I'm talking about Chris Adams, owner of the Valley Local blog, Valley Local online blog, and the Connecticut Valley Line layout. In HO scale. It is a super fun layout, super awesome, beautifully detailed layout that runs fantastically with some light branch, New Haven branch line operations. Am I up to episode 100 yet? I'm not that far behind, Ray. I'm about halfway through. Let's see, when was this? Alright, so I'm up through the end of March. because I'm about halfway through listening to your episode with Tim Garland about content creation. So I've got probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yeah, I've got 10 episodes to be caught up, not including the rewinds. That line is definitely one you'd love to visit. The Valley, the layout, Chris's layout. Yeah, Chris's layout is well worth a visit if you can find a way to get to his layout. It's beautiful. I need a smaller brush. Just looking at your end scale Santa Fe locomotives, you have 11 F units to weather and some B units. That's going to be fun. Are they all in the war bonnet, or are some of them in the blue and yellow cigar band? Listen to more than one a week, you will eventually catch up. That is true. Gotta hop off. Thanks again for doing this. Looking forward to pictures in the morning. Absolutely, Garrett. Thank you for trusting me with your with your handiwork. It was super fun to work on 201 and 202, and happy to be playing a role now in 203. All red war bonnets, nice. Yeah, those will be, I assume you're, for weathering, darkening the grills, adding some soot and exhaust to the roof, and then probably just a little bit of desert sand kick up, I'm assuming, yeah? That's probably about all I would do. Yeah, some road grime around the front and along the sides. Add a couple more for the blue versions. You weren't even including those. So I was gonna say the blue units I know took a little bit more of a beating in terms of weathering because they weren't leading the, your super chiefs and your scouts and your El Capitans. Yep, and a touch of top-down fading. Yep, that makes sense. Very nice. All right, I think that's good on the roof for now. So that just leaves figuring out these ends. I might see... I wish I had like a vertical cradle of sorts that I could just hold it in this position. That would be nice. But my hand will have to do. Nope, I need a little bit of red in there. Thank you for that one, Giuseppe. Uh-oh. Where did that come from? We lost one handrail. One yellow grab iron. Did that come from right here? That's my guess as to where that came from, is right here. All right, well, that's one thing. I have the damn door wide open. If I only break a couple of pieces off, I will be okay with it. With how delicate some of these pieces are. That one's gonna be fairly easy to, because so what it is it's the opposite to this handrail right here. It goes right here. So that's super easy for me to get at, super easy for me to get in there and repair it. So that one I'm not super worried about. If I break off something down in here is what I worry about. Because that would be a pain to do. My worst fear is doing something like this for a friend or for a client and then just absolutely destroying their hard work. I need a pan of eyes. What is that? I'm unfamiliar with that. Is that like a type of vice? Yeah, to kind of hold something in any position? It's kind of what it sounds like based on the name. Alright, well, I've popped one of these off as well, but that's okay because it is just kind of in place. What did I say my commute is? My commute is about an hour and 20 minutes right now. From here in Hopewell Junction down to Darien, Connecticut, and back. Once I, over the course of the next month or two, I'm going to be saving up for a place that's hopefully closer. It's a multi-positional vise. Ooh, very nice. Yeah, that does sound extremely useful, actually. An hour, 20 minutes each way. Yes, correct. Correct, Ray. Although in actuality, it turns out to be it's not as bad as it sounds. Partially because I've already gotten pretty much used to the drive. It's not a bad drive as long as I stay off of 684 and 287. 84 is never an issue. At least it hasn't been so far. I'm kind of going against a lot of the traffic for most of my trip. And then 2 days a week, I'm staying in Stamford with my girlfriend. So that breaks up the drives quite a bit. So it winds up being not too bad. It is pretty long. It's like I say, no. I've been managing just fine with it. I haven't had any issues with being late or getting stuck in traffic or anything. I give myself roughly an hour 35 every morning. I give myself an extra 15-minute buffer. And usually I'll eat into that a little bit every now and again. Whether being stuck behind a school bus or just getting caught in, at an intersection that I don't have the right of way and it's just a rough time to be there or whatever. But overall, it's been fine so far. Oh, by the way, Ray, I've forgotten until just now that I'm supposed to be helping you out with your special project. I'll sit down this week and do some testing and get back to you on that. Sorry, I kind of slipped my mind a little bit over the last couple of weeks. But I will be getting back onto that for you. And I'll be in touch at some point this week with some results. Some preliminary results. Yep. Yeah, I just figured I'd give you that update while I was thinking about it. I just have to sit down with my computer for a little bit, and there's a few different projects like that I need to sit down and work on. So one of the nights this week will be just digital drawing night. Catch all these highlights on the trucks and everything. I think that'll do. Get some of this underframe detail though. That'll probably do it for the 203 tonight. Because we gotta let this cure just a little bit before I can move on to some road grime and some dust and a little bit of rust. Although I will do some streaking from these Fs before we call it a night on this project. Snack time. Cheese, crackers, dry salami, and olives. Very nice. Good evening, Sean. Welcome in. Welcome in. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you've been well. Sorry I missed last week's stream. But I was busy being at my new job. Thank you. It's been working out really well so far. As we've been discussing here in the chat, the only downside so far has been, well, the commute. Alright, I think that'll do for tonight. Let me put this grab iron in the box before it gets lost. And then we can jump back to... Where did the grab iron go? There it is. Then we can jump right back into working on B&CCS 765. So let's get all these brushes and things out of the way. Get this Penn Central boxcar out of the way. Start pulling together some of these details that I'll need here. So I'll need those. I'm gonna add a Sinclair ice skate antenna to the roof. Something I got a batch of 10 of these. Few of them seem to have been damaged in transit, but that's okay. With 10, I can afford a couple to be damaged, and I'm gonna start adding them to a lot of my locomotives. I really would like to find the one that I had out before, though. Because I had it labeled. Alright, one last floor check. And then if I can't find it on the floor, we'll give up and move on. Alright, I got no idea where it went. Sam, good evening, my friend. Good to see you. Hope you're well. Hope your trip was good, and hopefully you're home safe. Hope you had a fulfilling experience down there. What else do I need? These. Where are my other detail parts at? Did they get put over here? Good to be back. Trip was successful. Experience was fulfilling in the best way. That is awesome to hear. Super glad to hear that. All right. What other detail parts did I want to add? Wipers. Where were the wipers? What were the wipers? All right, well, let me grab the horn here. Cut apart. Did I put the wipers away? Quite possibly. Oh! I found the horn I was looking for. Huzzah! Put it in the tray from my decoder install last night. Right, now where did I put this wiper? I'm gonna check my detail parts drawer here. I thought I took them out, but I might have put them away, which is why I'm checking here before I do anything else. No, they don't seem to be in here. Okay. I have not listened to it yet, Sam. That was what I was saying to Ray earlier. I've realized that I'm a little bit behind on the podcast. So, with my new hour-plus commute, I've been catching up on the show, and my goal is to be able to listen to the episode with Chris on Friday as I am driving to Chris's house for an op session, because I am lucky enough to have made Chris's acquaintance over the years through the New Haven Railroad Historical and Technical Association and through just various events, and he's kind enough to invite me over to run up. So Friday night I will be spending my night as an engineer on the Valley Line, and so yeah, my goal is to catch up to the point where I can listen to the episode with Chris on the way to Chris's house, because I think that's fun. There's the wipers. Aha, good. Will do, Ray. Okay. So, what do I want to do first? All right, well, first thing I should do is the horn. Let me take these gloves off. Let me grab my tweezers and take out my X-Acto handle. So I get a fresh blade into it. Where did I put the X-Acto handle? There it is. Hey! Oh man, it's been a while. I'm sorry I haven't been around the station, but oh jeez. It's good to see you, Peter. Don't sneeze. I'm not fighting off a sneeze. I'm just fighting off the eye itchiness. Now, where did I put? There's my X-Acto blades. I didn't hang them up, so they weren't what they're supposed to be. But yeah, it's good to see you, Peter. I'm glad to see you on tonight. Just pulling together parts to do some detailing work on an N-scale locomotive. Next time I can make it to the station, I'll have to show them off, and then you can compare how big it is on your big TV screen to how big it is when I'm working on it in real life. All right, fresh X-Acto blade. Bring the zoom in. Camera control, zoom. There we go. Had your first guest op session. Yes! How'd that go? Hopefully that went well. I wish I could have made it. Dude, you had 8 insulators for the pantographs. Now you only see 7. Oh no. Yeah, that might be a problem, Giuseppe. Okay, so to explain kind of what my goal is here. So this is, yeah, I undid the zoom. I hate it when I do that. So what I have here is, there we go. An Atlas 5-chime air horn. It's designed to go on their SD60Es. My buddy Brandon's favorite locomotive of all time. I am, you know, so I'm told. Brandon hates the 60s. But the reason I picked this up is because it's got the right base shape and it has 5 chimes. Piece of plastic flash. So my Bicentennial unit, the 765 here, is a GP40-2, which I am basing all the details for it on Seaboard Coastline GP40-2. And the GP40-2s have, I think I worked it out to, what's that, M5H? I think it was a Nathan 5-chime air horn. Let me pull up a reference photo for you all. this, do that. There you go. So, I'm basing it off the SCL Jeep 40-2s, and they have 5 chime air horn, 3 big chimes, 2 big chimes facing front, 2 medium chimes facing back, 1 small chime facing front. So my goal is to disassemble. You're gonna think I'm crazy. My goal is to disassemble this horn and reassemble it to look like that horn. So we're gonna see how that goes. Hopefully it goes okay. If I can't figure it out, if I can't get it to work, I will just get a 3 chime air horn to put on there, because that's the standard for the B&CCS is the RSL 3LR 3 chime. So that's, that's what I know you're crazy now. Fair enough. But so worst comes to worst, I can always go back to the 3 chime. But I thought it was an interesting enough little detail that I could try to recreate. So the issue is I looked and looked for, just make sure I don't lose that bit that I've just cut off. So I'm going to center it between my tweezers. And I'm going to do this, that we actually see what I'm doing. I looked and looked online for N scale 5 chimes that weren't all, that weren't like the 60E version. The only one that I could find online that wasn't a pre-order from BLMA, because Atlas is running some pre-orders for their detail parts right now, I don't know. But I was able to find one from J&J Trains, which is Leslie 3 forward, 2 rear, 5 chime air horn. Which looks pretty good. Until you put it next to the locomotive and realize how gigantic it is. So, this is not gonna work. Which is what leads me back to the Atlas parts. You forgot it was Monday. Hi, Dennis. Hey, Josh. Welcome in. Glad you remembered it was Monday. You're here just in time for the insanity to begin. Truly. Who does detail parts in N scale? Ray asks. So the big ones are Atlas with their BLMA line. And Details Associates. Those are the 2 that are still pretty readily producing them. Out there are also J&J Trains. There was Miniatures by Eric, who did them until he passed away, I think 2023. He did brass castings, which actually I have some of his parts for before he passed. I have some of his parts from then. And then there are some others out there. I'm trying to think of them. I'm trying to look around at my packaging for what else is out there. Atlas, J&J, Atlas, J&J, Detail Associates. Those are the big ones. I think there are a couple. Is Wallace doing N scale? Not yet. My hope is that I can gather a few of my friends and pester Chris to do them in N scale. That's the hope. I gotta get on that, because I have some of his HO scale details for the HO scale 730. Got his bell right there. Got his MU receptacle on the nose. I'm going to put his ditch lights on there. So, they're fantastic details. I think probably he would say some of them won't scale down, which is fair. But I hope to nudge him enough to at least do some basic ones in N scale. Because right now he has, like, I think 3 very specific detail parts. And that's it. No general locomotive parts like he does in HL. So it did look pretty big on that SCL unit. It does look big on the Jeep here. But it does not look nearly as big as this model horn does. If I go back here, this horn takes up the width, basically halfway between the number boards on one side to halfway between the number boards on the other side, which the horn on the SCL unit definitely was not that big. So that's why I think this horn array will be about the right width. So, okay. Pardon me. Am I in frame? No, I'm not. Now I am. The issue with N-scale detail parts is that there's not enough crazy people out there. I need more crazy people like me. And you thought you were nuts putting chain binders and scale chain on your HO loads. Yeah, no. You don't even know. You don't even know nuts, Giuseppe. Well, maybe you do now. Trying to preserve the armature as best as I can here. This is delicate work. This might involve more patience than I can muster right now, but we're gonna try it. Times at 1040 almost. Okay. If we can get this horn... Uh-oh. It went somewhere. I'm going to slowly and carefully stand up. And hopefully it will make itself apparent. It went ping! See it? Oh, I think I just saw it. Where did it go? Oh, there it is! Yes! It's almost Band-Aid time, Giuseppe says. Listen, I'm putting a very light amounts of pressure on that thing. Intentionally, I'm being super careful about it. Also, now it's a 4-chime. I'm so glad that I managed to find that piece because, oh my gosh, I would have been frustrated. I need something. All right, we're gonna do yellow because I need something that the white will contrast well with. It kind of blends in with the green, so I don't want to lose the parts. I actually cannot believe that I found that after it went flying off like that. That's incredibly lucky. There we go. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I'm so incredibly lucky to have even seen the direction that it flew in. Excuse me. Okay. So that chime is going to stay centered. The largest chime is going to stay centered. It's a bit disappointed that the horn fronts aren't open. I mean, they are a little bit. They've got some concavity to them. Maybe if I took a picture, you'd be able to see it a little better than this low resolution camera here. They do have some concavity to it. All right, and now you saw that part was hard. Now comes the reassembly. Oh, apparently now comes the bloody nose. Sounds good, Sam. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers to you. Wishing you a good night. There we go. Okay. You would get a tiny piece of plastic strip, oversized, glue them onto that, then trim off the end of the strip. To it. Well, the goal is to glue them back onto the armature here. to reuse this base piece to mount it to the roof of the cab. So I have to glue them back onto that. That way I have something to hold on to. What can I... Oh, you know what I can do? I can use my putty again. And get a little nodule of my putty. We're gonna put that right there. We're gonna stick this right there into the putty. Now I just have to work out the orientation of which horn goes in which position. Oh goodness. Need more reference pictures. So I think, let me line these up in size order, first of all. There we go. Okay. So I think we need to do one there. Oops, wait a minute. Nope, wrong side. One there. One there. And then one there. I think that's the right orientation. That appears right to me. So, now, let me get some glue out. There we go. Swap from the X-Acto blade to the glue looper. Which I need to order some more of these. we go. Okay. Small one on the end here. This is going okay so far. I'm kind of shocked that this seems to be working. Just trying to get some of this putty out of the way. I mean, that's a horn right there. So I'm gonna let that set for a little bit. The fact that I even got that is mind-blowing to me. I will definitely be sharing some pictures of this because that's kind of insane to me that I managed to get that slapped together. But anyways, sounds good, Billy. Have a good night. I'm gonna wrap up here in a few minutes myself. I think I just wanna get the antenna on the roof. I think it's gonna be the other thing I do tonight. That's a fairly easy thing to do, I say, confidently. Let's see, silver paint. Goodness, I got a ton of messages all of a sudden. You sent me 4 pics of the current project. Ooh. Ooh, those are looking really nice. Those are looking really nice. Well done. Okay. What am I doing here? Excuse me. Taking my fine point brush. Camonets and stowage are scratch built. Really? Those came out really nice then. Fantastic job. Really fantastic job on those. Can't wait to see them loaded up on some rail cars. Configuring a horn. I was taking a break from configuring the horn to attempt to paint a Sinclair antenna while the horn glue dries. You'll be working on the cars this week? Nice. Yeah, I'd love to see finished pictures when that's done, because that'd be so cool. What kind of... Don't say flat cars. What kind of cars are they going to be riding on? Are they going to be on DODX flats? Or something a little more generic? TTX 60 footers, nice. The 60-foot cars are so interesting to me. Just maybe it's because they're not really prevalent anymore. But I don't know, I've always found them very interesting. John, good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So this is where we're breaking a little bit from the history of the actual units themselves. So the SCL units got firecracker antennae, whereas this is going to be a Sinclair antenna. But I think that's okay. Time frame is late 80s, early 90s, you believe. You're going to be doing wood decks now. Ooh, nice. Very nice. All right. Had a great train show last weekend. Sold one of the N-scale starting sets you brought. Oh yeah, I remember you were saying about that last week. Awesome. That's great to hear. Posted video of the show. Starter sets are around the end of the video. I will have to go check that out after stream tonight then. Because I was super interested last week in seeing what you'd put together for folks. So I will have to go take a look. Off my tweezers. Go. Get the Jeep in frame here. Now, I think they were slightly off center. That does look about right. So I'm gonna completely press that down. And then we've got the horn there ready to be painted as well. I have to decide if I want the horn to stay white, because the white horn on the red roof actually is pretty nice, or if I want to paint it red to match the rest of the roof. I have to make that decision before I install it. But regardless, I will be posting some pictures up in the Discord, and probably I'll do on the Facebook, the B&CCS Facebook page as well. Excuse me. Probably not tonight on the B&CCS page, but probably tomorrow on the B&CCS page, because my hope is that tomorrow night, or sorry, not tomorrow, Wednesday. Tomorrow I'll be staying with my girlfriend. But Wednesday night, my hope is that I can wrap this project up as well. Get everything all squared away, inside, outside, all the details added, and have it ready to run for the 4th of July. So I can also finish writing up an article on it, because that'll be a fun project. Anyways, with all of that said and done, I'm gonna call it a night. I gotta get to bed so I can wake up in time for work in the morning. But thank you folks all so much for watching tonight. I hope you all enjoyed. I know I did. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your evening. And I will see you all on the next track.